Tonight, the newly elected member for Flinders outlines his priorities for the Eyre Peninsula. And Bennett Oval in Whyalla will miss the start of the new footy season.
This is Southern Cross News.
Hello and thanks for joining us over on 7 Mate tonight as we make way for the start of the coverage of the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. But first tonight to Whyalla, where police are encouraging us to keep using Crime Stoppers after the seizure of dangerous weapons this week. While the actual number of the weapons was small, police say they are better off in their hands than on the streets. John Hunt has this report.
These are items you don't want to see on the streets of Whyalla. Early on Monday morning, police raided a property at Whyalla Norrie and seized a contraband as part of ongoing operations to remove dangerous goods.
As a result of the search, police located capsicum spray, a butterfly knife and knuckle dusters, along with some unlawfully possessed fireworks.
While it's only a small number of weapons, Inspector Hubbard says the focus remains on public safety and confiscating weapons that could be used in future crimes.
Very dangerous. I mean, these weapons are used to facilitate other offences, so people often who deal in drugs or commit other crimes arm themselves with these weapons to facilitate those crimes.
He says prevention is always the preferred option.
This is a crime reduction as much as it is law enforcement.
Inspector Hubbard says information from the public has a big role to play, and he's urging all of us to report any suspicious activity to Crime Stoppers.
In this case, information from the community can help us get these weapons off the street. If you hear anything, if you see someone with these weapons, please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
A 56-year-old will face court at a later date on charges relating to the weapon seizure. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
A 20-year-old woman will face court in Port Lincoln in coming weeks after being charged with allegedly bashing a staff member in the face at a hotel over the Easter break. Meantime, a 32-year-old Port Lincoln man will also face a magistrate after a fight broke out at another hotel on Tasman Terrace just after midnight on Sunday. Police say neither of the victims were seriously injured. Well, after two frustrating terms in opposition, re-elected member for Flinders, Peter Treloar, says he's more committed to public service than ever. Our reporter, Casey Treloar, caught up with Mr Treloar, no relation, to hear about his plans to keep the Eyre Peninsula front of mind on many levels.
A convincing win in the seat of Flinders.
I was first elected in 2010, re-elected in 2014. Having had two frustrating terms in opposition in 2018, finally elected for the third time and into government.
Mr Treloar says with the Liberals now in power, he'll have better access to ministers and departments. He says the new arrangement will give the Eyre Peninsula a stronger voice.
We'll have a direct line to both ministers and departments, which is something you don't have, of course, from opposition. Simple as picking up a phone and talking to a minister. So that's a real advantage for me and for the people of Eyre Peninsula.
Mr Treloar says he'll focus on the key issues impacting his electorate.
We've already committed to more funding for roads, change in administration in relation to health and education and things like that. So all of those things will be a benefit.
And upon his return to Adelaide soon, Mr Treloar will have a few added responsibilities.
When Parliament returns in the first week of May, I'll be appointed as the Deputy Speaker and also going as Chair of Committees. So that's exciting. It'll be a new role for me, an exciting time. I really believe that Eyre Peninsula is in a strong economic position and we're actually on the cusp of some very exciting times, I think. So looking forward to being a part of that.
Casey Treloar, Southern Cross News.
The Silverton wind farm is rapidly taking shape with 9 turbines standing tall on the hills around the outback town. The site is expected to start generating power by the middle of the year, with the plan to have the project completed before the winds pick up around September. Even though the site is over 25 kilometres from Broken Hill, the turbines can be spotted from high points around town. The Silverton wind farm is expected to generate enough energy to power over 130,000 homes. Well, new tourism figures show South Australia is still on the bucket list for many visitors, especially when it comes to the Flinders Ranges and outback centres. Rachel Nell has this report.
Renowned for its picturesque landscapes, amazing nature experiences and also some really great food, the Flinders Ranges and Outback have been named as the second most visited destination outside of Adelaide in a recent tourism survey.
And we're attracting around about 694,000 visitors each year. That's approximately, say, 8% up on the year before.
Gateway of the Outback, and I think it's just a combination of quality offerings in the regions.
New tourism attractions like Steamtown in Peterborough are believed to be driving the higher visitor numbers. 65%
of our tourists are all South Australians visiting their own state, in particular our area. 28% is interstate, particularly Victorians, and then a very small amount is international, so 7%.
Each year the region sees over 300 million overnight stays, the highest for any part of the state. SA's tourism economy has skyrocketed to $6.6 billion, with the Flinders Ranges and Outback attracting its fair share of that.
And the Flinders Ranges and Outback's part in that currently is $410 million.
And that's seeing more returns for local businesses and economies.
The more visitors we have in our regions, the more they spend, the better it is for our local businesses and tourism operators. And long term, the more people they employ, it just means stronger and more vibrant regional communities.
The more tourists that are visiting our region, the stronger the local economies become, the more jobs that are created, and this encourages new investment into the region.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us after the break. How improving the daily diet and drinking more water can help the elderly avoid bad falls. That's next on Southern Cross News. Welcome back. Police in Whyalla continue to target drug drivers after 4 people were charged in the one night. Last night, police stopped a 31-year-old motorbike rider on Clark Street and also a 44-year-old driver on McDouall Stewart Street, with both men returning a positive test for methamphetamines. Another man and woman were also caught early this morning. Meantime, police impounded a car driven by a 36-year-old man from Whyalla Playford who recorded a drink drive result of nearly 5 times the legal limit. Port Pirie will soon be home to a piece of Australian naval history. A part of the famous warship HMAS Tobruk will be transported to Port Pirie and transformed into a memorial, thanks to the hard work of local RSL volunteers.
HMAS Tobruk too served our nation well for 34 years, and now a section of the warship will form the centrepiece of a new memorial.
The part where the flag of the Navy is hoisted at the front of the ship, so we're very pleased to have it in Port Pirie.
People will be able to come here and touch a piece of HMAS Tobruk and reflect on the great work that they've done.
In the 1990s, the warship played a vital part in many peacekeeping missions.
In recognising their peacekeeping role, their humanitarian assistance and border protection.
With Port Pirie's strong naval connection, it's hoped the memorial will become a place for tourists and locals to stop and reflect on all who have served Australia.
In 1960-70, we had the highest per capita people sign up for the Royal Australian Navy in Port Pirie.
Many people with from Navy backgrounds who've finished their service to come back and have a look and see what we've got here.
Next week, a flag-raising ceremony will acknowledge the memorial on the 77th anniversary of the outbreak of the fighting in Tobruk in Libya.
Commemorative service at 11 a.m. on next Tuesday for the opening of this memorial here. And we certainly welcome the whole community to come along and be part of it.
It was when the siege of Tobruk began. So it is a little bit emotional, but it's a good moment for Pirie, I hope.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
School leavers thinking about a trade in the shipbuilding industry will soon be able to apply to attend a new Naval College in Adelaide. The college will cost $25 million to establish, and students from Port Lincoln, Whyalla, Port Augusta and Port Pirie will be encouraged to see what's on offer in the way of training and education. Federal member for Grey, Rowan Ramsey, says it's going to create the next generation of submarine and shipbuilders in the region.
Those opportunities will come available to the people that live in the regions, and certainly that's what I'll be working to make sure happen.
Well, for anyone with elderly parents, the fear of them falling and not being able to get help can be quite a worry. And in Broken Hill, nurses are offering advice on how a healthy diet can assist in preventing falls. Today, the Far West Local Health District has acknowledged April Falls Day, a quirky play on words with a very valuable message.
Fall prevention is everyone's business.
They're trying to get to staff, community and carers, promoting ways and means of ensuring that falls are prevented.
Visitors to the hospital today were greeted by members of the Health District's Falls Prevention Group, handing out helpful information about April Falls Month. It's about raising awareness for this preventable injury, and this year's focus is nutrition and hydration via a healthy diet.
We're looking at bones, which is vitamin D and calcium, and ensuring people have the correct diet needs that they have.
Good muscle tone for staying upright and walking.
Vitamin D helps improve muscle function, calcium helps strengthen bones, vitamin A, C and E are important for eye health. A well-balanced diet with energy and protein is vital in promoting safe mobility, greater strength, balance and cognition.
Last year it was mainly mobility, but everything goes hand in hand. We need to be mindful that we do have elderly people that become dehydrated very quickly, and especially our dementia or cognitively impaired people can become malnourished quite quickly because they forget to eat and drink.
Anyone that presents to the Broken Hill Health Service is always given information about falls prevention, and they can also contact the dietitian for healthy eating.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
SA Lotteries is continuing to track down a very lucky punter who bought the winning $4 million ticket in Saturday's ex-lotto draw. The winner is a registered entry, but they've yet to come forward, oblivious to their newfound millionaire status. The owner of the News Express Beers news agency in Port Lincoln was notified on Sunday that they had sold the winning Division 1 ticket and that there was only one winner. Joy Wennon says the wait to find the lucky winner is hard on the old nerves.
But every time we check a ticket, I'll tell you what, we think, is this the one? I'm very proud for Port Lincoln, and I just hope that the winner is someone who can use it wisely, and hopefully we can sell another one in Port Lincoln in the future.
Stay with us after the break. The Whyalla football season will be starting away from Bennett Oval. That's next on Southern Cross News. Groundkeepers at Bennett Oval in Whyalla have made the tough decision not to host any matches for the first 3 rounds of the new season. Bennett Oval's surface has taken a hit over the summer, so now Memorial Oval will be the venue for all 3 senior matches each week, including some early morning fixtures.
Since last year's grand final, Bennett Oval has been off limits. Rapina and South Whyalla were forced to find new training venues so the grass could rest. Despite this, a lack of water and a drier 2017-2018 summer has seen the Oval become unfit.
Water SA, occasionally turn it off and then just forget to tell people that they've turned it off. Normally we get our January, February rains, and that hasn't happened, so we're really behind the 8 ball.
New seeds were planted recently while the league is watering the Oval every night. And despite some improvement, Mr Velthausen says they'll keep the Oval on the sidelines for the first 3 rounds.
Hopefully we've got it all sorted out, and just the public needs to be aware that don't come here for the first 3 weeks.
Under-17 matches will be played at Central's and Waruna-based training grounds, while all senior fixtures will be played here at Memorial Oval. It means a double header of B and A grade matches will start at 8:30 a.m. in the morning each Saturday.
Sometimes you've got to do what you've got to do. We've got to try and get this up to speed.
And he's forecasted it being a costly exercise.
Last year we paid for recycled water somewhere around about $20,000 just for the water recycled, which is half price. It's going to be an expensive hobby.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
And while we are talking sport, the Port Pirie Baseball League is preparing for finals time. The Cats dominated the Panthers in the Majors division, bringing home 13 runners in a one-sided victory. Young Jay Gonsalves hit his first home run in the big leagues, while Mark Stevens has hit his 4th of the season. Preliminary finals will be held this Saturday at Leonard Park, starting at 11:30. OK, time to see whether life is being much kinder to motorists needing to fill up after the Easter road trips. Here's Patrick Reinke with this week's Fuel Watch.
Well, after the Easter long weekend, as predicted, there's been a drop in unleaded prices. However, that's not the story for diesel, which continues to climb. Starting with unleaded as usual, and Port Lincoln is one of the rare ones to see a jump in its average. A price of $1.40 makes them the most expensive in the Spencer Gulf for another week. Whyalla and Port Augusta are both down to $1.37, while Port Pirie is up by almost 3 cents to sit on $1.35, the same as Kadina. Here in the Silver City, we're still paying around $1.39, but some servos are selling for much less. Adelaide is back down into the 130s. A 9-cent drop sees the price go from $1.45 to $1.36. To diesel now, and Port Lincoln has gone against the trend and seen a drop in their figures by about a cent. Whyalla is up to $1.39, Port Augusta is now $1.40. Port Pirie is still averaging around $1.37, while Kadina has seen no movement at all. Broken Hill continues to climb, and Adelaide is up by 5 cents. So remember that these prices are the regional averages and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. But if you happen to find a spot that does sell unleaded or diesel for cheaper, let us know on our Facebook page.
And thank you for that report, Pat. Well, Amy Stevenson is standing by with your weather forecast. And Amy, we've still got a few more days in the high 20s ahead of us.
After some milder autumn weather, they will indeed, Ali. With the mercury set to rise again over the weekend, I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. Temperatures rose around all centres again today. 28 at the top in Port Augusta, slightly cooler in Adelaide and Port Lincoln. Meanwhile, temperatures sat in the high 20s elsewhere. Checking the satellite now, and showers will clear over the southeast, southern peninsulas and Kangaroo Island. Dry winds elsewhere are continuing to keep skies clear. If you're heading out to spend some time on the waters tomorrow, expect southeasterly winds shifting southwesterly up to 15 knots. Seas will reach 1 metre and the sun will come up at 33 past 6. Taking a look at tomorrow's weather, and temperatures will start to creep up again. Port Augusta will reach a top of 30, while those milder days will hang around in the west, with Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay sitting in the low 20s. Meanwhile, we'll see maximums in the mid to high 20s and towards 30 in all other districts. Looking towards the weekend, and temperatures will steadily rise in Port Lincoln, hitting a top of 29 on Saturday and 27 on Sunday. Warmer days ahead in Cleve, with days in the low 30s over the weekend. Meanwhile, the summer-like temperatures will continue in Woodner, with a sunny 36 predicted on Sunday. Further up the Gulf and Whyalla can expect temperatures in the low to mid 30s over the weekend. There won't be much relief from the heat in Port Augusta, with a forecasted 36 on Sunday after maximums in the 30s all week. Meanwhile, Kadina will also experience similar sunny conditions. The summer days will return to Port Pirie with a top of 36 on Sunday after a week of warm temperatures. Clare can also expect the mercury to rise this weekend, while the sunny and warm weather will continue in Broken Hill and a top of 34 on the weekend. So, Ali, summer will be making another appearance around the Spencer Gulf just in time for the weekend.
Thanks, Amy. More than happy to stick with T-shirt weather just for a little bit longer yet. You can keep up to date with any local news happenings via Twitter, our Facebook page, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will be back here on 7 Mate tomorrow and for the duration of our Commonwealth Games coverage, so please spread the word. Until then, enjoy the rest of your night.